Today we're going to talk about writing expressions and equations. And to get started, we need to understand that math is a language. Just like Spanish and German and French are languages, so is math. And if you were in a different country and you didn't know how to speak the language there, it would be easy to get confused and not understand what's going on around you. Math is no different. In order to better understand math, we need to understand its language. So let's go ahead and review some of the basic words you need to know to better understand math. And we're going to start with the 4 basic math operations: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. There's words that you use all the time that can mean these 4 different operations. And let's start with addition. For instance, instead of addition, you might use the word plus or add, added to, sum, and more than. All of those words can mean addition. Instead of using the word subtraction, you might use the word minus or subtract, difference, or less than. Instead of multiplication, you might find yourself saying times or multiply. Product means multiplication, and the words of and each mean to multiply, like if you're buying tickets at $5 each. Twice and double also can be used for multiplication when you need to multiply something by 2. And finally, division. We can say divide, divided by, quotient. Those are all division words. These words, knowing which operation they represent, can make a huge difference in your understanding of math phrases. So now that we know some of the basic words to use, we're going to start to put sentences together and see what they look like mathematically. Like, what would mathematically or symbolically, what would it look like if I say 2 added to some number? Now, when it says some number, we don't know what number that is, but in math, that's where variables come into play. To represent an unknown number, I use a variable, and today I'm going to choose to use the variable x. Added to means addition, and I start off with the number 2, so literally reading this sentence would look like 2 plus x. 2 added to some number. What about 7 times a number? Symbolically, what would that look like? Well, one way to write it is 7x. When you have a number and a variable side by side, those are being multiplied. You could put a dot in between to indicate multiplication, or you could put one or both of these in parentheses. One thing you really want to watch out for, though, at this level of math, you don't ever want to use x for multiplication, because then this would be 7xx, and it would get confusing. What about the difference of a number and 8? Difference means subtraction, and we're taking a variable and subtracting 8. We'll come back to this phrase in just a minute. What about the quotient of 17 and a number? Since quotient means to divide, we're taking 17 and dividing our variable, dividing our unknown. And we could write that as 17 divided by x with a division symbol, or more commonly from here on out, you're going to see it written as fractions. a fraction line is a division symbol. So this means 17 divided by x. Now these last two phrases, I want to just kind of caution you about the importance of the word and. Notice how the number and 8, I wrote them in the exact order that they appeared in my sentence. When I saw the word difference and I knew there had to be some subtraction, I put the subtraction sign in place of the word and. So I had a number minus 8. I did the same thing when the mathematical operation, the quotient, was listed first. 17 and our variable got listed or written in order, but the actual division replaced the word and. And is a very important word in these phrases. When the operation is listed first, remember the actual symbol replaces the word and. Let's talk about the two very special cases, more than and less than. Less than is a little more special than more than, but I group them together because the two together are easier to remember. If I wrote the phrase 3 less than 10, would that be the same as 3 minus 10? What number or what value is 3 units less than 10? Isn't that 7? If I calculate 3 minus 10, do I get 7? Absolutely not. I get negative 7, and that is not the same. I would have to flip the order or reverse the order and write 10 minus 3 instead, and that would give me the appropriate value. Well, more than and less than are special cases where you do actually switch the order. If I want 3 less than something, I'm going to subtract 3 at the end. Let's practice that just a little more. If I say 2 less than x, how do I need to write that? That's x minus 2. If I say 4 more than y, I should say, write y plus 4. This is why more than isn't quite as important as less than, because y plus 4 is the same as 4 plus y. But again, if I can group less than and more than together as special cases, it'll be easier to remember. And how about d less than m? How would I write that in symbols? I would write m minus d. Don't forget that more than and less than gets written at the end, or kind of switches order instead of just the order that it's written. Just a little more and we'll be done. We're almost there. Let's talk about the equal symbol. What words or phrases can you think of that means equal? Well, of course the word equal or the phrase equal to could work. How about the word total? And one that you might not think of, the word is in a phrase will mean equal. And finally, there's times when we need to use grouping symbols in our phrases, and so we need to talk about when to use parentheses. Parentheses are most often used when we're multiplying an entire sum or difference by a number. Let me show you what that looks like. If I have the phrase 2 times the sum of a number and 3, what are we multiplying by 2? Are we multiplying 2 times a number? Are we multiplying 2 times 3? Well, according to this, we're multiplying the entire sum by 2. And that's when we need to use some parentheses. And then the sum itself is going to go inside those parentheses. The sum of a number and 3, and I'm multiplying the whole thing by 2. That's what this sentence is telling us to do. Okay, let's try a few and then we'll be done for today. I'm going to give you a phrase. I would like you to try to write down the symbolic version of that phrase, and let's see how you do. Let's start with 6 less than a number is 15. Did you get x minus 6 equals 15? If so, great job. Remember, less than, 6 less than means I'm going to subtract 6 from whatever comes after. How about the product of 12 and a number is 84? Product means to multiply, and don't forget the word is means equal. Did you get 12x equals 84? Hopefully. How about a number added to 8 is equal to 24? This one's extremely straightforward. Hopefully you got x plus 8 equals 24. Try the quotient of 5 and a number is 70. Notice the word and. You should get 5 divided by x equals 70. You could put the division symbol here, so I have 5 division symbol x equals 70. Or I could write it as a fraction, 5 over x equals 70. They're all the same. Just a quick side note, if you put x divided by 5, that is not the same. Unless I have the words more than or less than in my phrase, everything needs to be written in the order that it's listed. And since 5 was listed first, it needs to be written first. One last phrase to try. Twice the difference of 5 and a number. This one, since we're doubling the entire difference, should have parentheses, and we get 2 times, in parentheses, 5 minus x. All right. If you feel like you're comfortable with this, great. If not, remember that you can rewind and pause the video and go back and look at some of our definitions and examples again. But for now, I'm going to wish you a great day, and I'll see you next time.